Hi, I'm Javis Lewis, and in this episode I'm going to show you how to use this GoPro Hero 5, 6 and 7 audio adapter on the new GoPro Hero 8 camera. Let's check it out. This is a quick update to my previous video in which I've showed you how to use this adapter on the GoPro Hero 5, 6 and 7. The construction on the Hero 8 has changed, but the adapter still works. But there's a few caveats that we need to talk about. So on the previous generation of the GoPro, we had the luxury of having, in fact, two doors. One for the battery and one for the USB port. Now, sadly, on the new GoPro Hero 8, GoPro have changed the design a little bit, so we only have one door on the side, and that, once opened, reveals both the battery as well as the USB port. Now the good news is that audio adapter here still works just as well on the Hero 8. So it goes in like this, it no longer faces down. On the other design it was facing down, so this is one thing to take into consideration. The cable now either pops out forward like this, well actually this is backwards, isn't it, or it'll pop out the other way, which is then pointing forward. There we go. So these are the choices that we have. In the menu, it is still available, so you have to have this thing attached, and then in the menu, if you swipe down from here, then you go into preferences, and you'd think it might be in connections, but that's not the case. Connections only gets you to the Wi-Fi type and Bluetooth connections. So you need to scroll all the way down to input output, and when you look at that, you have all these options here. These only become available when the adapter is attached. So watch what happens when I detach it, then we see NA. So if you don't have the adapter, or if you don't have the original GoPro adapter, this is what you'll see. So once again, it happens you swipe down on the screen here in video mode, and you swipe down, and then you head over to preferences, and then you head over to input output. Under input output, you will find this menu that'll come up as soon as the adapter is attached. And then you can check whichever type of connection you have there. I've explained all this in my previous video for the GoPro Hero 5, 6 and 7. Go check that out. There's a link in the description of this video. But aside from that, there's some obvious differences here in the GoPro Hero 8, and that is the big white elephant in the room, which is the door. So because we only have one door, I don't recommend you leave that dangling around when you're making a recording with this, because then you've got two things dangling out, and this comes off really easy. So I can just move this door up like this, and it pops right out. So it also goes back in just as easily. Let me just detach this thing and show you how that works. It's a nice nifty construction. I don't know if you can see that in the video. It has this tiny little metal ledge here, and that holds these two kind of prongs in place. And so you reattach the door by putting this on a kind of a 45-degree angle directly on this little silver axle here, and then you just go and push that right in, and that brings the door back in. Oh yeah, and you close it by popping the door down, pushing it in, and then this little thing needs to be pushed into the GoPro, and that's, you know, that does what you want it to do. But the obvious issue is that if we just remove the door for a second, the audio adapter is going to work fine with the battery here as long as the battery has contact. So the issue is that if you go over a bump on your motorbike or on your bike, and the battery is going to fall out and loses contact, that's going to be, you know, not so good. The recording will stop and your video file is screwed. I've had that happen. Not recommended. It's okay if you have this thing on a selfie stick or on a shorty or something like that. You'll see that the battery isn't going to fall out easily. Well, actually, mine is. You know, it wasn't in the beginning, but now it is. So now it's literally like if I give this a little shake like so, you can see that the battery is jumping out. So without a door, we can't actually do anything. So there's two ways to work around this puzzle. You can either remove the whole battery completely, take it out and not worry about it, and still attach the GoPro regular audio adapter like this, and then attach your microphone to this hole. But while you've got something dangling out of this thing, you might as well attach a USB-C cable into the other port and add kind of a battery pack to the other end of that. So I've tried that and that works just fine. So in that case, the GoPro is never going to lose its battery, and it's going to take power from an external power pack, like this. You put that in and then the GoPro is going to work just fine, including all the higher resolutions and video stabilization on 4K 60 with Hypersmooth 2.0. That all works from an external battery pack as long as it can provide something like 2 amps. That also makes the camera a little bit lighter, so if you're balancing it on a selfie stick like I do for interviews, it's perfect. But with the battery inserted, you will stand a chance of that power connection getting lost, so that's not an ideal solution. Just wanted to warn you of that. I've seen other solutions where people just essentially put tape around the camera, like sellotape, or they insert things like strips of paper together with the battery so that it has held in place into the GoPro a little bit more. I don't really recommend that because it just, the whole side of the GoPro is exposed there. So I'm not a big fan of that. But luckily, I've found the first third-party manufacturer who actually make a door, namely this one here. It's the Ulanzi G8-7. That is a third-party battery door that looks exactly like the GoPro door, with the obvious exception that it has a little hole at the bottom which lets us close the door, affix the battery in place and attach the audio adapter at the same time. So that is really, really cool. Let me show you how that works. And this is my preferred solution. And I'll talk a little bit more about the ordering process, where you get that thing from. So let's put my battery back into the GoPro. It's a new battery with a blue cap that is essentially the same as the same form factor as the old battery, so it still works exactly the same, but it has a slightly higher output at peak times, I believe, so the higher power image stabilization is supported. The Ulanzi door is a little bit different than the GoPro door, so it doesn't have the metal latch, it just has these 2 prongs, but once again, with the 45-degree angle towards the camera, it just snaps right into place. A little bit heavy going the first couple of times you do it, but yeah, that's really it. Then it closes just like the other door. One other difference about the Ulanzi door is that it opens wider without detaching itself. I do actually appreciate that. It still has a foam pad on the inside here, just like the regular GoPro door. This is them side by side here. They both have a little foam padding that squidges on the battery and holds it in place. So if I go and close this down now, I'll go and push it down, push this hook in, and kind of does the trick. So that now holds the battery in place. And more importantly, I now have my USB-C hole here into which that old adapter, which is kind of a little bit chunky here, as you can see, that fits in just fine. And that is what I call a good solution. I don't know why GoPro haven't given us a door like this in the first place. I mean, I guess they're trying to give us this thing called the mod, which is something that will hopefully, that's how I understand it, that will hopefully fit into this as well as around the camera, and that lets us attach a regular 3.5mm audio jack directly into that mod. So we don't need this adapter anymore, but it'll be $80, and more importantly, it is not available yet. It's the GoPro 8 came out in October. It is now late December, and we're heading into January 2019. The thing is not available yet. Don't know what GoPro are playing at, if this thing is ever going to come out. I've put a link to the Ulanzi door into the description of the video, if you can find the description. YouTube like to bury it under many videos you didn't actually want to see. There's a link, there's 2 links actually. One is a link to Ulanzi's own website. That's a company that's based in China, and you can order directly from them, and it'll be around $20 including shipping. Downside is that they dispatch properly, but your item might get stuck in the China mail. So I've ordered mine about 3 or 4 weeks ago. It's still at the Shenzhen Airport. I don't know if I'm ever going to get it. So I've ordered a second one from Amazon. Ulanzi weren't always on Amazon, but now they are, and this store ships directly from the US, so Prime members get it within a couple of days. So that's, yes, it's an affiliated link. If I find others, I will put them in there, but that is all I have for today. Watch my other video if you're unclear about how to actually use this adapter and the ins and outs and the caveats. Thank you for the 20 people who left a comment on that video, by the way, telling me that S is in fact stands for sleeve, so I know that now. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, please leave them down in the comments below. below. If you find other solutions, please let me know. I'm keen to hear it. As soon as this GoPro first-party mod comes out, I will take a closer look at that. Other than that, happy GoProing, happy filming. Take care. Bye-bye.